Hello, this is newwaveofbritishheavymetal.com. Today is the 21st of October 2020, and in this little video we're going to revisit a blog post I put on the website on the 7th of September last year, which was a review of Samson Bright Lights, the albums 1979 to 1981. And for those Nawabum historians like myself, you'll know that Samson, back then, one of the original new wave of British heavy metal bands, were quite an amazing band. They really were one of the originals, and still in my eyes one of the best. You know, I listen to all these albums frequently. It's amazing stuff even after 40 years. And of course, quick history lesson, if you need it, if you're not familiar. Samson were built around the somewhat astounding guitar ability of Paul Samson. Also featured the somewhat, well, let's say legendary drummer known as Thunderstick, who of course played in a cage wearing a gimp mask. Bit of an unusual, unique selling point, right? But no, I mind the man can play, he still can. I mean, he's still active today. I've got loads of Thunderstick albums. But again, that's another story. We had Chris Aylmer on bass, wonderful bass player, and of course, way back then, they had a young rapscallion vocalist by the name of Bruce. And Bruce, of course, would later go on to join another band of the time that I suppose are moderately well known, Iron Maiden, and has been their vocalist ever since. And instead of Bruce, called himself Bruce Dickinson. But there we are. Anyway, as I've said. Before I go on, I forgot to ask the usual favour, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, please. That would be most appreciated. So anyway, back to it. As I've said, in this box set here, we've got the first 3 studio albums of Samson's, 2 of which, of course, featured Bruce on vocals. We've got a remix of the second album, and I'll mention why in a little bit. And we've also got a really storming live performance of the band at the 1981 Reading Festival, which was notable as that was text. Let me turn that off a sec. And of course, that Reading Festival appearance was when that was Bruce's farewell to the band. But that first album, Survivors, is, I guess arguably you could call it a little bit experimental. It's a little bit raw, a little bit rough around the edges. But it certainly does show that the band had the chops and demonstrated much promise for the future. It was full of like bluesy hard rockers in style, such as Not As Easy As It Seems, and the quite bizarrely named I Wish I Was the Saddle of a Schoolgirl's Bike, which sounds like a song title from Budgie, doesn't it? Big Brother is another stormer. All really enjoyable stuff on that first album, and it kind of made you want to really couldn't wait for what next. And Survivors was recorded before Bruce joined band, but however he did re-record his vocals, and that alternate version is on this box set as well. So you've got the first album as it was, and then you've got the re-recorded version with Bruce's vocals, and that's a real proper treat. And you can immediately hear the difference that his voice brings to the band. It's much more powerful. Anyway, Bruce settled in, Samson's stock was rising, surely they were going places. That second album had really knocked things up a gear, and man, it did. Head On, Dodgy Cover Apart, phenomenal album indeed. It's chock full of blistering rockers. The band was on a roll. Listen to like Hard Times, Take It Like a Man, Vice Versa, Thunderburst, and all the rest of them. Amazing stuff. And again, Bruce as he was then, to the fore. Growling, mean, lung-busting vocals. There's not a weak moment anywhere on Head On. Well, again, other than the dodgy cover that I've mentioned, and surely for Samson, Head On would push them really up to the main division. And that's how it looked at the time. The media were all over him. I saw him many times back then in concert. Always fun. You know, surely that third album would maintain that momentum and push them on to the top of the top division. And that third album, Shock Tactics, in my opinion, is another step up, and it's the best of those first three albums. It still rocks really hard. Bruce's vocals have grown and matured and are even more impressive. The songs have a more mature composition and production value. It's really, really top-notch stuff. And for me, again, it progresses from Head On. Just check out the pulsing Riding with the Angels with its ZZ Top style lead. Earth Mother, another spectacular riff, and Bruce's immense vocal. We've got a Nice Girl, which is a little bit jaunty, and they're just three. I mean, it's again, start to finish, classic stuff. And Shock Tactics, remarkable as that album is, somehow, unfathomably, failed to build on what the head of steam that built up behind Head On, and Shock Tactics didn't really do anything. Mystery, right? Mystery. But that's how it was. And Samson started to falter a little bit. That Reading Festival in 1981, as amazing as that set was, which again is in this box set, as I mentioned, that couldn't save the day. Bruce jumped over to Iron Maiden and became Bruce Dickinson. Samson pressed on with a new vocalist in Nicky Moore and released a few more albums before the end did come. And sadly, Paul Samson and Chris Aylmer are no longer with us, R.I.P. boys. But with the 5 albums in this box set, you can listen to what a powerhouse Samson were back then. The early new wave of British heavy metal days. Phenomenal stuff. Could have been so much more successful, but there we are. By this box set, it's remarkable. It really is. If you'd like to check it out, there's a link in the description below to the box set on Amazon. As always, there's a link back to the post on the website if you want to read that as well for another view. And do it, just do it. I mean, Samson, what a band. Right, I'm going to shut up now, otherwise I'll ramble on forever about how great I think they were. So, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.